Ladies and gents, this is the moment you've waited for.
This is the greatest show!
And now, here's your host, Clint Arthur.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the greatest show of all time, right here on 77 WABC Radio in New York City. Today, I am broadcasting to you from the Cosmopolitan in Las Vegas. This is a special episode. I'm Clint Arthur. I have been helping authors, speakers, coaches, entrepreneurs, experts of every kind to raise your status in the eyes of customers and prospects so that you can be seen, be heard, and be wanted, which means you'll have more impact, influence, and income, and have the real career that you're looking to have. And today's episode is inspired by my good buddy, Joe Biden. That's right. Joe Biden inspired this episode. I've been telling you all that you should be in showbiz, that all biz is showbiz, and that if you're not in showbiz, then you don't get it. And Joe Biden has finally, it seems, gotten the message that he's really in showbiz, because Joe Biden is now using a George Costanza strategy for his campaign. What do I mean by that? Well, Joe Biden is pursuing George Costanza's strategy of doing the opposite of everything that he has been doing. That's right. You remember that episode where George Costanza realized, he's like, everything I've ever done in my career has been wrong. Everything I've ever done in my life has been wrong. So if I just do the opposite of everything that I've done in my life, if I do the opposite of everything that I want to do, then it will have to be right. And that's exactly what Joe Biden is doing. As many people have pointed out, Joe Biden has been on the wrong side of every foreign policy decision during his whole 47-year career in Washington. He's also been on the wrong side of every domestic policy decision that he's been involved with during his entire 47-year career in politics. And now, pursuing the George Costanza strategy, Joe Biden has reversed himself on a lot of really important issues. The first of which, of course, is the law and order issue. During his whole Democratic campaign, conference, convention, the DNC, as in Death to America, DNC 20, Death to America conference, Joe Biden said not one word about the riots, about BLM, about Antifa, about the chaos that's been going on. But all of a sudden now, Joe Biden is saying that rioting is no good, that burning down buildings is no good. He couldn't say any of that during his whole week of his convention. But now that he's pursuing the George Costanza strategy, all of a sudden, Joe Biden is becoming about law and order. The second place where Joe Biden is pursuing this new George Costanza strategy is where it comes to jobs. Now, for 47 years, Joe Biden has been shipping jobs to Canada, to Mexico, to China. He has been a proponent of NAFTA. He's been a proponent of the Trans-Pacific Partnership. But all of a sudden now, Joe Biden says he is going to be about bringing jobs back to America so that we can make things here. He's a made in America kind of guy. Jobs back to America. Good job, Joe. That's George Costanza's strategy in action. Next, Joe Biden told us that he was in favor of a national mask mandate. Well, here we are, early September. Joe Biden is now against the national mask mandate because why? It's not constitutional. He just realized that it's not constitutional. The only reason he realized it was not constitutional is because he's pursuing the George Costanza strategy. The next thing that Joe Biden has learned from George Costanza is that he should be campaigning out on the campaign trail. Hey, Joe Biden was following the science. He was confining himself in his basement bunker because the science said that he should stay in the bunker. But now that he's pursuing the George Costanza strategy, he's reversed that. And now he's out in the people. He's out in Pennsylvania. He's in Wisconsin. He's starting to have an actual campaign instead of a virtual campaign. Thank you, George Costanza. Next, He always told us that China was no threat to us. That was a big thing. He's China's boy. China was no big threat to us. Well, all of a sudden, China is a threat. He wants to bring the jobs back from China. He's telling people, we're bringing back those manufacturing jobs, and Joe Biden is the guy to do it. Well, he would never have come to that realization if it wasn't for George Costanza's reverse everything that I'm doing philosophy. Thank you, George. Next, we're going to fracking. Of course, Joe Biden is a signer of the Green New Deal. He's got the Green New Deal in everything but name. And specifically, Joe Biden was anti-fracking. We're going to take away fracking jobs. It's going to cost a lot of fracking jobs because fracking is bad for the environment. Well, now that Joe Biden has adopted the George Costanza strategy, fracking is good. He's in favor of fracking. This is a really great one. The next one is Joe Biden used to be a big proponent of police and prisons. In fact, Joe Biden was the sponsor of the Violent Crime Control and Law Enforcement Act, which resulted in adding 100,000 police officers and $10 billion in prison funding. Now that Joe Biden is following the George Costanza strategy, he is in favor of defunding the police. That's right. You saw him say it. He's going to reallocate that money to other divisions. That's called defunding the police. And then last but not least, Joe Biden is now reversing his stance on all of his trade deals. That's right. Joe Biden was a huge proponent of NAFTA and the Trans-Pacific Partnership. And now that he's pursuing the George Costanza strategy, he is now in favor of Made in America. Now, what are my prognostications for future George Costanza moves by Joe Biden? Well, number one, he's got to become a racist, okay? Because he's been such an anti-racist his whole career. He's got to basically do what Donald Trump has been accused of doing. He's got to become a pure racist. And I expect that George Costanza's strategy will be transforming Joe Biden into an anti-BLM and anti-white and anti-race candidate. Number two, he has got to be an anti-corruption candidate. Hey, Joe Biden has been nothing but corruption for the entirety of his career, getting his family all kinds of lucrative contracts in the Ukraine and China. Now Joe Biden, I'm sure, is going to reverse that. He's going to start pursuing corruption and especially his family's own corruption. You could expect to see Joe Biden turning in his family and getting them arrested as part of his George Costanza strategy. What else will Joe Biden be doing as part of his George Costanza strategy? I predict that Joe Biden will reverse his position on abortion. Joe Biden is now in favor of government-funded abortions. And I predict that Joe Biden is going to become a strict right-to-life candidate. In keeping with his old Catholic upbringing, he's going to have a revelation and realize that everybody has a right to life, especially the unborn, the weakest amongst our society. The unborn have a right to life. And as part of his George Costanza strategy, he will be adopting a pure right-to-life, anti-abortion stance. Lastly, I predict that Joe Biden will be ending welfare. I believe that Joe Biden is going to realize that people who are rioting should not be receiving welfare, that people who are on welfare should not be receiving unemployment, that people who are on welfare are not really pursuing the American dream. I predict that Joe Biden is going to change his position and become a strict working in America candidate. No work, no money, no handouts from Uncle Sam. And those are my revelations about Joe Biden. And all of this comes from his understanding that he is really in showbiz. That's right. It's time for my favorite part of the show, the home repair section with Tony Silva, CEO of HomeRepair.com. We've been talking about the great home repair, home maintenance ideas for summertime. Here we are at the end of August. What's your last ideas for summer tips?
So here's a great one, right? It's clean your air conditioner drain line. Like, what? Tony, what are you talking about? Air conditioner drain line. You know what I'm talking about, Clint. It's that pipe that's somewhere outside your house that's constantly dripping. It's drip, 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 drip. What is that? Well, you have any idea what that actually is? It's actually coming from your air conditioning unit. As the air conditioner pulls the moisture out of the house, it has to have somewhere to go. So here's the thing with this. Sometimes air conditionings, oftentimes today, they're in someone's attic and they put these pans down underneath the air conditioning system to catch the water in case there's ever an overflow of this pipe. Like, you don't really want water caught in a pan in your attic because that could leak. So here's the tip is, make sure that the drain line that's going from that pan that could be in your attic or it could be on your roof, make sure that it's free and clear and that the water can drip clearly. Now, there should be a like we call a riser pipe, a clean out. If you go in your attic, there should be another pipe that sticks out off the top of it. It's going to be a white PVC pipe. And all that you need to do is just, pour some water down that thing. Make sure that it's flowing clearly and evenly. More than likely it will be. And then a preventative maintenance tip, take a couple of cups of bleach and pour it in there. Why bleach? Because it's going to clear out and kill any algae growth, anything that could create a clog. Because look, that pipe goes through the wall, down the house, wherever it's dark, it's cold, like that's where that kind of stuff grows. So pour some bleach down that guy and keep it clean. Keep your air conditioner drain line clean.
Yeah, baby. I love that. Being the Virgo, I love cleaning pipes. What's the next tip?
Next tip is cleaning your bathroom vent fans. Look, a lot of people don't really know what this bathroom vent fan is for. I think it's maybe like to distract your visitors while you use the bathroom. But
so is that also known as the fart fan? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Well, and it does remove unpleasant smells, but really what it's best designed for is when you shower. When you shower, there's so much condensation and moisture getting in the bathroom. It's why the mirror fogs up. You got to turn the fan on. I've told so many customers this that people just don't know. Like, that's what it's there for. When you're going to take a shower, turn the fan on. Here's what comes with that though. That fan is like working and it's pulling moist air out of the bathroom. And so the fan blades get damp. So does the grate color. They get damp. And what happens when dust meets damp? It turns to like dirt and sludge, and it's just not good. So if you've been using your fan properly, that guy is probably dirty as anything. So the tip is clean your bathroom fans. Take the grate cover off. It's usually hung, it can be screwed in. A lot of times it's held together with a spring. Take that out, rinse it with some soap and water, clean the grate, make sure the power is off, right? Make sure the fan's not on, but then also clean the fan blades. You can also use a vacuum cleaner with the wand on the fan blades and keep that clean, keep the motor clean, keep that thing going. So that tip for today for that is keep your bathroom vent fans clean.
Amen to that. I love that one. And I'm a big fan of bathroom vents and fans. All right, let's go on to the next tip, Tony. What do you got?
Hey, while we're talking about fans, there's more than one, but there's another fan that you need to consider and make sure that you're cleaning. And that's the fan that's over your hood range, right? Your stove. It might be under your microwave. It might have its own, you got the fancy Viking one, whatever. But look, there's a fan cover there. And when you turn that guy on, you're supposed to do that when you're cooking to remove the heat, but it's also sucking away that greasy air. So this is your unsung hero. You need to run this thing when you're cooking if you're, doing it properly. And if you are, that thing's going to get dirty. So it's a great time to take that cover off, take the filter out, put it in the dishwasher, or rinse it out with some hot soap and water. If you can reach the fan blades, clean the fan blades and put that all together. So it's a great time of year. Just make sure that, these are indoor things that you can do, that you need to do to keep your home maintained and function at its top ability.
Hey, your home is probably your biggest investment. It's a collection of systems. We've been talking about how to repair and maintain those systems, especially during the summer. If you want help with any of this or a home remodel project or a renovation or storm repair, call up Tony Silva at homerepair.com. And what's the number, Tony?
It's 877 Red House.
More great stuff with Tony Silva next week, right here on The Greatest Show of All Time. All right, I've been talking about this for a while, especially when I was at my conference at CNN. That's right, my live conference at CNN, where we had 142 people, August 7, 8, 9 at CNN Center. That's right, the hot spot that was Atlanta. At that time, we had 142 people. That's before I even knew that the CDC revised their COVID statistics down to 6% of what they actually said were the number of deaths. Since that event, I've done a total of 4 conferences. I've done 4 live events during the month of August, during the time when you're not supposed to be doing live events. Nobody got sick. People showed up. Everybody did not show up. We had about 30% no-show rate at our event. Usually we have about a 10 to 15% no-show rate, but because of the scary COVID world, we had about double the no-shows. And this is for people who are paying a lot of money. You come to my events, you're an author, a speaker, a coach, an expert, consultant, advisor of any kind. You come to a Clint Arthur event, you're going to pay $3,000, $5,000, $10,000, sometimes as much as $25,000 people did not show up. And I feel really bad when they don't show up, but there's no refunds, there's no cancellations, because what I do is strictly limited attendance, and you got to qualify to get in. And all I require is that you show up. You don't have to do a lot. You don't have to be very good at what you do. All you have to really do is show up, and you can walk through a portal to a whole new level of success and appreciation and achievement, being seen, being heard, and being wanted. That's all you got to do is show up. And despite that, a lot of people were unable to show up. My least favorite person who did not show up was a doctor in New York City who is a frontline responder. She can do anything she wants, but the reason she didn't show up is because supposedly she could not afford to be quarantined as a result of going to Atlanta and then coming back to New York, despite the fact that Governor Cuomo was not quarantined. He's an essential worker. Despite the fact that Governor Cuomo was photographed on stage in the state of Georgia, hugging people without a mask. He wasn't quarantined. He went home. He deemed himself an essential worker, and therefore he could go wherever he wants and do anything he wants. And for some reason, my client, who also is an essential worker, frontline medical worker in a emergency room, she didn't quite get that she could do anything she wants. She thought she had to be quarantined. She was scared of going to the hotspot. Guys, it is a war going on. The war is against small business, and the way they are fighting this war is by scaring you, by tricking you, lying to you, making you believe that it's dangerous out there. It ain't dangerous. You want to protect yourself, get yourself some hydroxychloroquine. That's right. My wife and I have been taking hydroxychloroquine, which we bought in Mexico, since March. And anybody who knows anything around the world, they're taking hydroxychloroquine. You see the countries in Africa who, quote unquote, eat hydroxychloroquine like it's candy. In those countries, they don't have any COVID. No, the cure is hydroxychloroquine. You saw that frontline medical doctor, that lady who went to medical school in Africa, and she had that viral video, that African-American lady. She's an African-American lady, for real, from Africa. And she's a doctor, and she's like, hey, the cure for COVID is hydroxychloroquine and Z-Pak and zinc. That's the cure. Everybody knows that. I bet you somebody said Fauci should get his blood test and prove that he's not on hydroxychloroquine. I'd like to see Nancy Pelosi's blood test and Chuck Schumer's blood test. I'd like to see anybody who's in power. I'd like to see their blood test and have them prove that they're not on hydroxychloroquine, because they're all on it. President Trump's on it. Anybody in power who has access to get that drug is on that drug. They don't care. They're not afraid. I'm not afraid. I'm on hydroxy. I had 4 live events during the month of August. Nobody got sick. Thank God. Thank God, because I tell you what, the year 2020 was rough financially until we had our live events. Why is that? Because live events are the best way to sell anybody anything. And the way that I am best able to enroll people in what I do, meaning to get them to pay me lots of money, which they happily do, the best way to do that is to have them come to one of my live events, to see me speak, to see me teach, to be in my presence, to feel my energy. And when they do that, then they buy. That's what happens. And thank God we had 4 live events. We were able to fulfill on a lot of the promises that we made to our clients last year. And we were delayed in delivering those videos and photos to them. But by the grace of God, I picked Atlanta as a alternative venue for my event, which was supposed to be in New York City. And 7 weeks after it was supposed to happen, the delayed version of it happened in Atlanta at CNN Center, and it went off without a hitch, pretty much. You know, one of the girls who was a celebrity speaker, her name was Janae Noonan. God bless Janae Noonan. I'll tell you what, she was a late addition to the party. I just picked her because I wanted a female MMA fighter. She's a world gold champion, gold medalist MMA fighter. And she gave the best quote of the whole damn thing. She said, when it starts getting hard, that's when you know you're starting to get good. And I'll tell you what, that was my best takeaway of all, because this was a very, very hard event for me in every possible way, not the least of which was getting the talent to show up. Gosh, Patch Adams canceled out. Paula Deen, I will never, ever, ever like her again, follow her again, do anything with her again. She canceled out. You know, we booked her like a month before the event was going to happen. She took the money and then canceled like a couple days before she was supposed to show up. Not nice. And then even the astronaut canceled out. I should have expected that a deep state worker like an astronaut would give an excuse for not showing up. And I'll tell you what, I don't deserve those kind of things as an entrepreneur, as the only person in America who's still trying to fight the good fight against the entrepreneurial world. See, there is a war going on against small business owners, against entrepreneurs. You saw it this week with the video of Nancy Pelosi going to get her hair done. That's right. The hair salon owner set up Nancy Pelosi. What a joke. What a crock. Nancy, you're a giant flaming hypocrite. That's exactly what you are. And you went in there thinking that you're too good for the mask rules, that you're above it all, that you're allowed to get your hair cut. You're allowed to get your hair blown out and washed and dried. Blah, 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 blah. Nancy, you're a freaking flaming hypocrite. And I hope to God that somebody upsets your Senate, your Congress seat and takes you out, because you deserve to be unseated. You're the worst kind of politician in the world. You're what's wrong with communism and power. You know, they have that saying, absolute power corrupts absolutely. Well, in the dictionary is the picture of Nancy Pelosi right below that definition. And God bless anybody who runs against her and is able to knock her out. I've donated money to your opponent, Nancy, and I hope she wins, because you're the dregs of society. The way you are such a hypocrite, and the way all you do is preach hatred against our president, who is trying to do great things for this country. You don't care about America. You don't care about getting relief money to the unemployed. You don't care about the dreamers. He offered you a deal to get the dreamers a path to citizenship. You don't care about them. All you care about is political power and taking over. And I swear to God, Nancy, if I don't even want to say mean things about you, other than you're the worst politician I have ever come across, and I could not be happier when the day comes that you are out of politics. And the same goes for Chuck Schumer. Oh yeah, New York State's Chuck Schumer. You are just as bad. And AOC, oh my goodness. New York City, what are you doing voting for these people? These people don't care about people. They only care about power. And we need to replace them with people who care about America, with people who care about New York. AOC doesn't care about New York. AOC got rid of all those high-paying Amazon jobs. For what? Why don't we get those jobs? What, New York City? Imagine how much better New York would be if we had those jobs right now. Look at what's going on. I have said this many times, and unfortunately, this is the current state. And anyone who's walking around the streets of New York knows it's true. New York has become the museum of the city of New York. That's right. It's kind of like what Hitler wanted to do to Prague, Czechoslovakia. Hitler preserved all the Jewish temples and synagogues in Prague, Czechoslovakia, and he preserved all their artifacts and relics and all the stuff. And his plan was to eradicate all the Jews in Prague, Czechoslovakia, and make that city into a museum of a dead race. That was his plans. And I think that's probably what de Blasio's plan is for the city of New York, because it is now just a shadow of what it was. Everything's still here. You know what's not here? The inhabitants of the city of New York have left. And maybe it's just because August, the dog days of August, maybe it's Labor Day. We'll see what happens after Labor Day. I'm hopeful and optimistic because I'm a New Yorker and we're New York tough. Isn't that right, Governor Cuomo? New York tough. All the people that died in the nursing homes, they weren't tough enough, not tough enough New Yorkers, but we're New York tough. And I'm hoping that New York is going to come back. But I tell you what we need in order for New York to come back. We need law and order. We need to be able to ride the subways without women being attempted raped on the platforms on the Upper East Side in broad daylight. We need our police to be respected and to not be attacked or killed. We need to be able to walk down the street and not be afraid of each other and for our lives. And we need a new law and order candidate to come back in and to take this city back from the powers who are trying to destroy it, AKA Comrade Bill de Blasio. This war on small business is going to be won by small business people doing business. That's why I've been doing my events, doing my conferences. Have I been making as much money as I used to make from doing these conferences? No, how could I? My attendance, no shows are double, but nonetheless, I still do very well because I'm very successful and I do great things for clients. If you're an author, a speaker, a coach, an entrepreneur, and you want to take the power into your hands, you want to be able to get on TV, you want to be able to have photos of yourself with famous people so you can stand out amongst all the noise in social media, then you come to Clint. And if you're listening to this show, if you like what you're hearing, please check it out at clint.com, C-L-I-N-T-T-T. That's Clint with 3 T's.com. And we got some good stuff coming up. I've got events coming up in New York in the fall, December to be more specific. I've got stuff happening in London in the spring, and I've got stuff happening in Las Vegas in May with Dog the Bounty Hunter. That's right. Hey, I got Bernie Carrick, New York City Police Commissioner to Rudy Giuliani, coming to one of my events in December in New York City. I'm excited to meet him. And if you would like to join us, please go to clint.com and fill out the application, CLINTTT.com. Hey, if you're new and you want to get more of an introduction to what's going on here, get my book, Celebrity Entrepreneurship, on Amazon.com. It explains all of this stuff and you need to know it. You got to be a celebrity entrepreneur. That term is a registered trademark of Clint Arthur. And this show is a product of 77 WABC Radio in New York City. I'm Clint Arthur. Thank you for listening to the greatest show of all time. We'll be back next Sunday night at 9:30 p.m. right here on 77 WABC Radio for the greatest show of all time.
The greatest show of all time.